everyone, I'm Allison with Green Goddess Plants and Seeds, and welcome to another garden chat. So welcome to our garden out here at the farm once again. Things are starting to kind of finish off. The growing season is kind of coming to an end. But before I get into the garden tour, I do want to give a huge thank you to Joe over at Garden State Gardener and that whole community over there. I want to thank you so much for your support, and all of my new subscribers, thank you so much for your support and interest. I am so humbled and grateful. My channel is a small channel. I only started in January, so it hasn't been around that long, and I wanted a way to share my experiences as a northern gardener, as a colder climate gardener. I thought it might maybe inspire others that it's amazing what you can grow in a short season area like what we're in. So I also wanted a way to record what we're doing with our market garden. Like I've said before, that this was something new that my partner Glenn and I were trying this year. So the YouTube channel provided a way for us to kind of have a visual record of what we did. So again, thank you so much for your support, and let's get on with the garden tour. So lots of things are starting to finish off out here in the garden. The beans are almost done. We might get one more picking off of them, providing we don't get a frost, because we are at that time of the season where it is entirely possible for things to freeze. And we had it happen last year. The last 2 days of August we had frost, so it's not unheard of, not uncommon. But the tomatoes are kind of starting to come into their own. They're starting to ripen. We've got some cabbage. We've had good success with broccoli and cauliflower, and this whole big sea of green ahead of me here. These are the pumpkins and the winter squash. And it's quite the space. I like to tell everyone that it is indeed a very sincere pumpkin patch. I know when we planted them out, Glenn thought I was nuts for spacing them out, for giving them as much room as I did. Now he understands why I planted them so far apart, and because I knew they would fill in no time, and they did. And we got a number of different varieties out here. We got these ones here are the Big Moons, and they are definitely a very large pumpkin. I really wasn't expecting them to get quite that big, but they did. And like I said, we have cabbage and broccoli and cauliflower. And now unfortunately we did not get the row covers on these. So as you can probably see, there's lots of those white cabbage butterflies. So they are holy, and they are got worms on them, but you know what, we've been cleaning them up, and they've actually been pretty good. They've actually been cleaning up pretty good. So cucumbers are almost done as well. They're not producing quite as fast as they were. Probably another 2 pickings maybe for lucky. They are still flowering quite a bit, but they're just not growing quite as fast. And we have noted that the demand for them has gone down quite a bit. Like, people are still buying them, but not like they were in like July. Like we couldn't have enough in July, and now people are not looking for them quite so much. So yeah, it's been a learning curve with the whole market garden thing. It was an experiment, and now that we have a baseline of experience of this first attempt, we can go forward with much better planning ideas. We can, we've got this, frame of the hoop house up, so fingers crossed that we can get that covered before we get a frost, because we actually do have some pepper plants planted in there in ground. And then I was telling Glenn we should try and get that cover on as quickly as we can, so that maybe we can extend the season for those pepper plants a little bit. These are the tomatoes. Lots of tomatoes. These are the Heinz 1497s. This first row is very nice, growing true to type, but the other 2 rows just are all over the place, so I don't know what happened with those. But there's lots of them that are starting to ripen. Lots of nice big tomatoes. That was one thing I noted last year when I grew a garden out here at Glenn's place, was that the tomatoes were huge. So everything is starting to kind of finish off in a way. We didn't actually plant a lot of crops for the market itself. I know the peas and were for ourselves. The beets were mostly for ourselves, though Glenn is wanting to, he's thinking of digging some up and taking them to the market on Friday. So these are the beets, and the ones that Glenn did thin are huge, and even actually some of the ones that he didn't get thinned are quite large. So we're definitely thinking of maybe taking some to the market. As long as he's got enough for what he wants to do, he's happy. This is the hoop house over here with the peppers, and there's more cucumbers in here. So probably once the cucumber's done, we'll pull those out, and I'm hoping we can still nurture the peppers on for a little bit longer. We've got some different varieties in here. We've got some hot, most of them are hot. That's supposed to be a Scotch bonnet. And I believe these ones in here, some of these in here are serranos. Over here, there we go. These are serranos in here. Here's a nice one. But we have actually some really nice looking bell peppers. So we'll probably be taking those to the market this Friday too. Most of them are green, but we actually planted some purple ones, some purple star bell peppers. If I can find them out here, I'll show you. Oh, here we go. There's some over here. There we go. Look at that. Aren't those lovely? So yeah, we've got lots of ideas for next year. Lots of things that we want to do and try and change. And I know we definitely need to better organize the space that we have out here. I mean, all things said, it was actually quite a success. I know Glenn was kind of surprised at just how well we did with what we had, and actually I'm kind of surprised too. I wasn't quite expecting things to be quite that successful, but they were. So yeah, we've already got some plans, not written down on paper, but we've been kind of talking about what we want to do and what we want to change. So part of what we'll do over the winter is probably draw up a more concise layout of the space and what we want to plant where. The other thing we need to do is get some modular trellising built so that we can use it not just for the cucumbers, but use it for like the tomatoes and the peas and stuff like that. So we can do more of that. We also need to come up with probably a broader list of vegetables that we want to try, and a planting schedule so that we could have some succession planting, so we have more. So when one thing is finished, we got something else coming in. Stuff like that. I know one of the things that I want to try is winter sowing. I mean, here in Meadow Lake, we get snow. We could, in theory, we could have snow at any time. Not that I want that, but we can definitely have frost at any time. But one of the things I did ask this question in one of the gardening groups on Facebook was, if anyone had tried or had success with winter sowing certain vegetables. So, and most people said they had tried lettuce. They had success with lettuce and spinach and radishes, like winter sowing them so that they come up really early in the spring. So I'd like to try something like that, maybe with beets and carrots, and maybe plant them in the hoop house so that they warm up earlier in the spring, that kind of thing. And I know Glenn wants to build a second hoop house, so we would probably have more than enough room to try that, to experiment with it. I'm all about trying new things and experimenting with things. That's what makes gardening interesting. At least for me, it does. It makes it fun. I'm all about trying new and different varieties, some of the weird and wonderful varieties of different things, because like I said, that's what makes it fun and interesting. And you can show off saying, hey, I grew this. So anyway, so that's kind of a quick update of what we've got going on in the garden. It is starting to finish off. The pumpkins are starting to come in, and the demand for those probably won't really pick up until after this next weekend. This next weekend coming up is the Labor Day weekend, so it's kind of like the last weekend of summer, the last hurrah for summer, and then after that everyone's thoughts is going to be turning to autumn. So after next weekend, that's when the demand for the pumpkins will pick up. So, and we do have lots of pumpkins, so it shouldn't be a problem selling those. Anyhow, I hope you're all having a wonderful week, or a wonderful start to the week. And we'll be talking to you again real soon. So until next time, take care.